Hey folks, welcome to this special edition of One Nation Radio on a Saturday. We cannot get to you on a Thursday. I believe that was Thursday was the correct day, right, Rich?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so had to wait, but Thursday couldn't get to it. So Saturday we give you One Nation special One Nation Radio for the death of Hulk Hogan. Died at age of 71. Rich, where would you like to start?
Fuck them. I'll start with that. I think it's a real dumb way that we have to talk about people, how they have to dress it up like it's complicated, and everybody's trying so hard not to say the wrong thing when a piece of shit like this dies, and people have memories tied up in these people. People are trying to work through how they feel and all this stuff. Well, I'm not here to do that today. If anybody has called this Hulk Hogan shit down the middle, for what the fuck it is, for a decade now, I feel like it's my time, James. I feel like I have the work and the receipts to stand on.
Yeah, yeah. Um, his legacy is not complicated. Everyone has the same internet search history, or they can see find the same things. People's feelings around celebrities are, and I think that's the distinction people miss when they do that as a cop out to, you know, hide from that part. Like, I don't know why people don't just come forward and be like, "Hey, man, like, yeah, what he did was absolutely fucked up, and I'm still going to miss them for X, Y, and Z." That's okay to say. But once you start saying, nah, we got to pretend that the shit he said, that, that he disliked, that he hated people, right? Like, we got to ignore that.
Like an
Nah,
un
now you got to get the fuck out.
like
Now you got to
like
get the fuck out the way.
not even just hated people, like an uncommon level of hate.
Oh
Like,
yeah, this is not. I don't want to live next to black people, or that person got what they deserved by the cops. This was uh I fear that my evil ways and karmic justice will have me reincarnated as a black person.
I guess we gonna find out.
Right? Like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, like that is a beyond the pale of your typical standard racist. That's beyond the pale. So
Yeah.
I don't know what people really want outside of just ignoring the obvious.
He was dedicated, James, to the racism, just in a way where
He wasn't even he wasn't even remorseful. Like
he was
if you
just
want to go
like,
through the
nah, I just can't help it no more. This I just gotta be who I gotta be. And what turned out to be the last year of his life, this man doubled, tripled down in public, and so many people I've also seen try to take the cop out of, I'm celebrating Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, that's some other shit. No. This man wanted you to know when he was coming out at the RNC, when he was on Fox News, when he was doing all this stuff, he was there as Hulk Hogan. He was not there as a private citizen Terry Bollea. Look, Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea came together a long time ago. We know the deal with the Gawker trial. Apparently, Terry Bollea has a smaller penis than Hulk Hogan, but that's the only difference between the two.
wait to
These
see who was going to use that joke first.
these people have been one for a long time. And this is
Yeah.
why WWE decided to be in business with Hulk Hogan over and over and over. And they were protecting the legacy so they could sell it for years. He was always coming back.
Yep.
And he came back. They milked him and milked him and milked him till they brought his ass out there this year, and everybody was fucking confused on why he was booed, and also simultaneously proud of themselves, for him getting booed. Meanwhile, he's not that much different than all the folks that were doing it, But he did do it in a way the last year where it was like, all right, bro. Like he clearly made a turn towards like an audience. Like this guy's a worker to the end. Like he's gonna find the audience, and like I don't even know if that necessarily was him, but he gave us more than enough evidence. I'm comfortable believing him for what he presented himself as.
Yeah. Um. So where do you want to go aside from talking about like the discourse of people and the nonsense online of people reacting to his death? Like if you want to feel sad for Hulk Hogan dying, like and as a child, part of your childhood is gone, and that makes you feel bad. I get it. I'm just not with the, we're just gonna whitewash the vile shit that he did. We're not gonna whitewash like him being, him ruining the chance for wrestlers to unionize. Right? That was a thing. Or,
It's
like
time to
amongst
grow
other
up.
things.
I say to them people, it's time to grow up. Like he ain't the first person that died. He ain't gonna be the last. Life gonna go on.
He's also not the first person that's going to die that ain't all sweet either, right? Like there are plenty of people. Look, every single president we ever had was a war criminal. I'm sorry. Like that's how that works. That's how that works. Like you don't need to sugarcoat any of this shit.
What did LeBron James say? Y'all gonna have to go back to y'all lives tomorrow. Hulk Hogan wasn't coming to help you pay none of them bills. Hulk Hogan wasn't coming out there to put food on your table. You were just out there being a mark. JD from New York.
Oh Lord, what did he say?
Fuck what he said.
I don't even know what he said, so that's all I'm asking.
Same.
Okay.
I'm sure it was some bullshit. Clip it up. Send it to him. But, yeah, man, it's interesting because, like, under any metric, Hulk Hogan is one of the greatest, most impactful professional wrestlers to ever live. Look,
right.
we're not gonna talk about whatever, like, working style, like his matches, whatever. It doesn't really matter. There were things that Hulk Hogan had that he figured out a way to work the audience and work promoters. Like, he's a master of the craft. Like, just completely figured the business out, in and out. Obviously put himself in a position to never lose. Also was generous with it. He would always bring his homeboys along, was getting people paid and stuff like that. There are good things to say about Hulk Hogan, right? But I don't quite want to get to them yet. Dude, is that fair? Like,
yeah. Given what I've seen online, and most of it being, people like this battle for like who has what's on the first paragraph of his obituary. And it's like, have we gotten so lazy, like as a culture, to where now it's like we can't read 3 paragraphs. It has to be only 1 paragraph, and we out. So like now people are fighting for what's basically gonna be chiseled on his tombstone in a way, or like virulent racist, or like quote unquote save pro wrestling. And it's like it's both. It's both. Combination. Like I don't know why it's so hard to just say combination.
And I don't even know about the saving pro wrestling part, because pro wrestling was fine.
Well, that's not true. That's not true at all either.
Correct.
That's another part. Like pro wrestling was around more popular before Hulk Hogan around the world than after Hulk Hogan. Like, and I'm not putting the expansion of WWE on his shoulders as he ruined pro wrestling around the world as far as selling tickets. Honestly, a lot of them promoters are out here scamming people and they good hard earned money anyway. So I'm not really going to put that on at the feet of Hulk Hogan. But what I am saying is, like, if there were no Hulk Hogan, like pro wrestling still went national. It just wouldn't have went as national and been as successful. But like it would have always been around because it was around before he was around anyway. Like, I think the thing about him that I guess people, if you wanted to talk about, is like it's kind of like the Jordan thing, right? It's like right place, right time, right star, and it's all the perfect timing goes. Like this happens in music all the time, where it's like you hear a song and you be like, wow, this song should be a bigger thing, and it's like why does song X or Y or Z connect and other ones don't? Is like this the timing. It's the timing, and Hogan came along to WWE at the right time. It's not like he wasn't WWE before. He did that before. It wasn't nearly the same thing. So yeah, like it was the right time, because like if that Hogan stuff, as we saw in the 90s, if Hogan came around 10 years later, he wouldn't have been as big a star, because people would have been post the patriotism. People would have like, oh, we're sending our kids off to fight in the war in the Middle East again. Not again, but for some shit that we don't really like. Desert Storm was a thing that changed a lot of people's minds in the 90s. So yeah, man, like it's just perfect timing. Just perfect timing. And
so many people and I think we have a kind of unique relationship and outlook on how Hulk Hogan is received, because we grew up in, a community largely that he lived in. Like, we always saw
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan around,
Round.
Clearwater, Florida, driving the big
Yeah.
yellow truck. He used to shop in the stores I used to work at or whatever. I have
Yeah.
personal experiences with Hulk Hogan. Like,
Yeah.
it to where some of them were kind of awkward, but it was like, all right, he's a celebrity, he might want to be left alone or whatever. But it's whatever. He was nice enough, but it wasn't like he was, he wasn't all the way there. It's like, I could have just like, saved my time on that. But
Right.
we seen, like, I've gone to the mall and ran into his kids before. Like, he was a huge, like, part of Clearwater, Florida for the past 40 years or so, or his whole life. That's where he's from.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's not weird, but like, it's kind of just like, so my granddad used to work at a dealership in Clearwater, and like knew I was a huge pro wrestling fan or whatever else. And like Hogan was a kind of celebrity to where like everyone knew where he lived in this area.
Right.
Everyone knew where he lived, right behind the fucking hospital in like off of Alt 19 and Safety, or no, sorry, in Clearwater. Like my granddad, when he would sometimes every blue moon would take me to the dealership, the family's dealership that he worked at. It would take me to their house because their house was next to theirs, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's Hogan's house." He would take me out there just to see Hogan's house. Like that's the kind of like that's another part about it. It's like kind of weird, like, or not weird, but like surreal. Is like Hogan was that level of star to where like if he had lived out in L.A. or whatever else, or Brentwood, or like all the celebrities do, or
he was the king of the world here,
whatever else. Right. People. It's all one of those things where like he would have been flooded, even paparazzi, all that kind of stuff for a long stretch of his life would have been around. But he's in Clearwater, Florida. Everyone knows where he lives. He has that gigantic fucking house on the water, and like it's just like it's strange to hear that like he lived like less than a block away from a hospital and he fucking died. And died inside the hospital he lives a block away from.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And
so it's just odd.
Yeah. It's like I start thinking about like the last 10 years or so to move it back, and we're probably gonna be all over the place here because there's a lot to kind of process here. When I heard he died, I had the weirdest feeling. It was like nothing. Like I felt nothing. It wasn't like no sadness, no tears, no reflections. It was just like I think I put on YouTube. They're doing like a best Hulk Hogan matches thing. I watched like a couple minutes of it, but I was like, whatever. Like I divorced myself from Hulk Hogan a long time ago. Like and like the last 10 years, like, and I'll tell people on this thing. Like we talked about all the different things when they would bring him back, and you remember in 2018 they brought him back to talk to the locker room. I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but recently, like I spoke to somebody recently who was in that locker room that.
Well, that story's out.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, that basically was like that co-signed like to me exactly what you think the story is, like as far as like, hey, the social media, blah blah blah. The person that was in the locker room told me it was like, yeah, and that shit was fucked up. And we kind of looked at him like, yeah, he don't get it.
Yeah, the story is that like instead of him walking to the locker room and being like, yeah, remorseful, sorry for the pain he caused people, it was, hey man, social media age, you gotta be careful with the things you say online. You can't get caught, which is equivalent to, like somebody gets caught for trafficking, right? For trafficking dope, and all of a sudden like their response is to the youngins when they got to do their community outreach is don't get caught. It sound like a fucking Jeezy album. Is don't get caught. No, it's you don't feel bad for the things, the crimes you committed. Like damn. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's
and like and
as you mentioned, like for me, Hogan, it was right for me with Hogan when all that stuff came out or whatever, because it was so beyond the pale of just your standard typical racist thing that a random white person says or gets caught saying or whatever else. I think totally beyond the pale.
I think it's important to also note that a lot of people were willing to hear him out and be like, all right, you go ahead and tell us, give us this like something, like we will listen to you. We hope you do the right thing because we would love nothing more than to keep celebrating you. I was one of those people. We would love nothing more than to keep celebrating Hulk Hogan or whatever if he could come out here and do the right thing, in a lot of people's eyes. And then it just never felt that way. Like, and there are places where he issued like pseudo apologies, but it never kind of felt like the way that everyone was looking for. Because like the further he went on, he was just like, I'm a double and triple down because he sees a
No
certain
accountability.
yeah, I think he's doing the numbers on this, right? And he's like, there's much more of these people than there are of these people, and they seem to not want me to take it back or whatever. So how I'm gonna keep this thing going, and with WWE and with the sponsors say I'm good to come back, we're just gonna let it die, and I'm gonna treat it like everything else. But the thing is, while he let it die, he thought he let it die. Everyone else kept it alive. And I credit myself in this. I credit, a lot of other podcasters that jumped on his head. Like Righteous Reg has jumped on his head for years. Phil Lindsay has jumped on his head for years. Ibu has jumped on his head on their stream. And, it has been just this thing that nobody wants to acknowledge or discuss because they get so in their feelings over this. Like, remember when the thing with the Roman Reigns, amount of days in the championships, and people were trying to say you can't do this because of Hulk Hogan and tightening their booty cheeks for that, and we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
right, because Hogan wasn't even the record is Bruno.
Right.
Like Hogan's record is 3 years. Bruno's is like damn near 8. It was always dumb.
It was dumb, bro. And then like, it's just like nobody cared about how we felt about these things. And I say we, of course there are coons and several other people that don't, subscribe to the things I'm necessarily talking about, right? And that's fine. But we know.
Has Cheese Board guy responded yet?
I don't follow his social media, so I would have to look that up. But
okay,
this thing with Hogan is just, I think for the last 10 years hung over him in a way that I don't think it's hung over anybody else, because there are plenty of wrestlers with racism stories and stuff like that, but the Hogan one just kind of feels like there's something else to it, because he then got adopted fully into MAGA, like, with the RNC stuff, with the Trump stuff. And it went off on a way where it was like, nah, it's not just a political donation. It's not just, then you just got to look back at his whole life and then be like, damn, was the entire Hulk Hogan thing just like, the way we took it in, like, this was bullshit. And they're so aligned, meaning Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan. How do we separate them?
I mean, for me, like, there's not much of a separation to be had. Like, it's the same thing when it comes to Vince McMahon and the sex pest stuff, right? It's like I don't care about the Mr. McMahon character. Like, if anything, the Vince McMahon has control over what Mr. McMahon says, right? Like, this isn't some Jekyll and Hyde shit where like he can't control himself and he morphs to someone else. Like, get the fuck out of here. He's not bipolar. Or I'm sorry, I don't know what he's actually diagnosed as. I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor. But you get my point. Like, at some point, the separation between the art and the artist and like a person, at some point accountability comes into place. And when Hulk Hogan ever got even drug close to the water of accountability for any of this stuff, he always had an excuse. It was either don't get caught on social media, or it's the everybody was saying that stuff in Tampa, in South Tampa, right.
Brooke Hogan, of course, we know she was into the niggas. I'ma just say it, he had the whole thing. He's like, if I, rather she was gonna fuck some nigger, I'd rather have her marry an 8-foot tall nigger worth $100 million like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist. These are the things this man said on tape. This man said that man wants an 8-foot. He wants a giant Gonzalez-sized Negro to be able to like be, with Brooke, El Gigante sized, Blizzak guys. Yes, speaking in Carney and all this stuff. So It's quite fascinating. It's quite fascinating because of all the places for Brooke Hogan to grow up, I think it's funny that that comment just came in.
Yeah, I just saw that. I don't even know if I want to acknowledge that.
So, man, um, you know, Hogan, his career started in the early or late '70s. Tampa, going all over, kind of trying to use a heel. He's teaming up with Beefcake, all that stuff. Later on, he was big, huge in Japan. One of the greatest foreigners in Japan ever. They did a big thing for him. I see AEW has not spoken a word about Hulk Hogan, which is fucking hilarious. They shout out everybody or whatever when they die. Him, no.
Look, tonight when Collision comes on, I imagine he's gonna get like the ticker at the beginning and that's it.
Holla.
Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, a picture, and year of birth, year of death. I think that's all he gonna get.
Yep. So drew a ton of money all over the place.
Yep.
We all know that. The biggest draw of the 80s, one of the biggest draws in wrestling ever, if not, like Dave kind of says, he's the guy.
In the discussion.
Yeah.
In the discussion for top 5 ever.
Like, he's drawn more fans to wrestling over a career than anyone.
Probably than anyone. Probably.
WCW, a big part of the Hogan ethos was him leaving WWE, because that's how I was introduced to him. Like, I knew about him when I was a little kid or whatever, but when I started watching wrestling was like 1995, so he was already in WCW, but he was on like a hiatus, so I didn't really see him or whatever. Like, I started seeing Razor Ramon pop up on there, and then Diesel, and then oh shit, Hulk Hogan, like with the NWO, and then I don't really know much about Hogan, but from there, like, as a pro wrestling performer, this is an all timer. Like, cuts the promo to do the NWO shit. What people thought they were gonna see with Cena this year, which I think is the difference between Hogan and Cena. No doubt, close your eyes. They call him the Babe Ruth of wrestling. Like, this is what Vince McMahon wanted to call him, essentially. So, like, there are not enough superlatives to talk about, his impact in the professional wrestling business, and whatever you enjoyed about his work and stuff like that. But for me, it's so long ago, and I grew up in an age group where most of them fucking Hulk Hogan matches sucked on pay-per-view, bro. Like,
oh yeah.
So like. Oh, yeah. I wasn't there watching in the 80s when he could still do something. In the early 90s where it was like, okay, there's something there, slightly getting sick of him. I was watching Hulk Hogan maybe defend the belt once a month on pay-per-view, and that shit's sucking. So, like, I don't know, man. It's, Hollywood Hogan and Jay Leno, shit like that. It's like, come on, man. Like, the Hogan and Piper in WCW series, like, nah,
in the
man.
cage.
Yeah, that shit, like.
It was awful. Ass.
Man.
Ass.
But like, this guy, he
NWO, like, for those that don't know, I don't want you necessarily to go back, but as bad as younger, because you have younger listeners, like, you think this Cena retirement run as a heel turn is bad wrestling, bad matches? Brother, that Hogan WCW championship run from 96 through 97, boy, the matches were worse. Flat out worse. Not even close. You think Cena's doing bad? Hogan was worse. Hogan was out here getting dud ratings from Meltzer. Duds. Negative star matches at times. Yeah.
Slammed Andre the Giant several times.
Except for the, we're not supposed to remember the one that counted with WrestleMania 3 was the shittiest looking one.
Yeah. WrestleMania 3, they held up a lie about this. Like, everything's a lie about Hulk Hogan, bro. Like, it ain't like, it wasn't no fucking 93,000 people there, but like, y'all even broke the record in Wembley a couple years later with Bret Hart, the British Bulldog. Well, you can't say Bret Hart had more fans there than Hulk Hogan. Then it's funny you're wearing the Bret Hart shirt. We know the relationship between Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan. The lack of jobs being done, and
oh, that was a total coincidence. I just had this on. Right.
Yeah, his hair fucking sucked. The colors
This man
sucked.
not attacking that. Now this man attacking this male pattern baldness.
Yeah, like god damn, like just let that shit go, dog. But you know, the mega powers. That was a big thing. Um, the whole storyline. Hogan. Ultimately, when you grow up, you look at that storyline. Yeah, Hogan was a fuck nigga. Like that's kind of just what everybody kind of assumed. Him and Warrior. They tried to get off Hogan.
Yep.
Um,
Because Hogan was getting too old, so they needed a new ace. And then Warrior was even more unreliable and unstable. And actually, probably is somehow a worse person than Hogan, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
If you know far less about Warrior than we even know about Hogan.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, they had to get back on Hogan.
Had to get it back on Hogan, and Hogan did one of his classic all-time working things where I'll do the job for him, but I'm gonna make it all about me. Like he just did that all, and he hadn't done a clean job, I think, since 1982 at that point. So they give Hogan all the big new opponents after, like he gets Earthquake. He's the one that actually gets to take some time off. Of course, he was in Rocky, years and years before that. Yeah. He was the biggest star in the world before Vince got him. He was in the AWA. And it was like, if you ever see some of those AWA tapes or anything, like, you see how much the crowds used to go crazy for Hogan.
They're fucking losing it.
It's nuts.
They're losing it.
It's fucking
like
nuts.
It's always fun to watch. What's one thing that's the positive about watching older like era like wrestling is like the crowds are so much more enthusiastic, and they display it, and you can see it on the crowd reaction. Like now everyone's kind of already recording stuff from their phones for clips and whatever else they're going to post themselves, or they're looking at their phone. You got to compete with the phone. Man, them people was out here lining up in droves, driving from all over the state to go to see Hulk Hogan. That was absolutely a thing. And like that's one of those things. That's one of the things that makes it like sad for me is like the last decade, since 2014 when that shit came out was like Hogan was a part of Americana for my life. Like, he's one of the biggest stars of the 80s when you think of like male machismo in a way, right? Like you see the action movies, you see Schwarzenegger and Stallone shooting motherfuckers up, right? And then on the other end you have Hogan and he's kicking whatever foreigner or whatever big evil motherfucker's ass. And like that's a part of it is like this country. Keep in mind Hulk Hogan's 6'4". He's listed at 6'7", right? He's really 260, but he's listed at 290, and it's like he's the big guy, but he's wrestling as an underdog for a lot of his matches, and it fits with like the how America identifies itself. Like we like to be the underdog when we're the evil empire, right? Like we like to pretend that we're underdogs. Meanwhile, look at our GPD, right? And like that's one of the sad things is like when you are a black person in this country, like you grow up and you think of America and you learn about America the same way that everyone else learns about America. And then as you grow up and you see more and more things, you start realizing America don't love you like you would like America to love you and how you would love America.
Like I'm not a part of this.
Not only are you not a part of this,
they didn't intend you.
People don't want you to be a part of it. That's the better way to state it, right? So when Hogan, who literally is the red and yellow, yeah, but like he's out here with the red, white, and blue all the time with it, right? He's almost like a folklore hero, similar like a part of mythos, almost like people talk about like Hulk or Superman, right? Where it's like truth, justice, American way for Superman. It's like train hard, say your prayers and take your vitamins, right? And like you find out that later, like that symbol also feels that way about black people. It's like It literally is just like another part of like this another part of the American experience for Black people. Is like this thing that like sounds cool. Oh, it actually fucking hates you. Wish you didn't exist. And
Yep.
wish you were left the fucking country. And that's the part that's heartbreaking. That's been heartbreaking about this whole Hogan thing. The last 11 years or so is like I want to say a few years ago. I found some old pictures of myself as a child. I'm in fucking Hulk Hogan pajamas. Hogan was my first favorite wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It quickly switched over to Ultimate Warrior, but like you get my point. Like I was a huge Ultimate Warrior fan. Hogan, he disappeared. I was right back to Hogan, and like I have a lot of really good memories about him in my childhood and all that kind of stuff. And then like the last 11 years it's been shit. It's like all right, well another person I what do you call it, celebrity culture and all that kind of stuff. Another person like I gotta let go of. Other people even decided to cling tighter to him, which is
Yeah.
I find that to be stupidity, but whatever.
I feel like
People cope however they want to cope.
like they cried their eyeballs out, and I don't know, man. I feel like some of this shit, like the Hogan embrace, is like
Hogan
antagonistic.
died to me. Hogan died to me 11 years ago.
Yeah, like this shit is antagonistic towards me. It is radicalizing for me. The amount of people that we know that obviously ran the Hulk Hogan over the years, they're posting their pictures with him and stuff like that. And it's like, hold on, did you not hear about none of the shit that happened the last couple years? Did you not?
See, that's the difference between me and you, right? Like all around that same time frame. You think about it, right, Rich? The Hogan shit came out. Trump goes down that elevator, right? Ferguson, all that stuff's around 2014, 2015. So like, guess what I did in 2015? Like, my Facebook's still up. I rarely ever go on it because I don't want to see I don't want to see my high school friends or the bigoted things they say. Like, should I just delete it? I probably should, but I haven't. So yeah, like that's all a part of it. So you say you've seen some of your first day Hogan pictures? I haven't seen none of them because I don't go to the bad place and feel bad no more.
That's amazing, man. You know, you think about how his role in fucking up WCW, the creative control, just too much.
Yeah.
The stuff with Sting, the fast counting, ultimate politicker, Hogan. No one can. That doesn't work for me, brother. There's calling any wrestler Hogan. If they win too much or they're getting a push or whatever.
Yeah, that's been a thing.
The nostalgia runs that started in like 2002. Hell, they started in 99 when he put the red and yellow back on or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, him versus the Dungeon of Doom, bro. You talking about some rotten shit, bro. The alliance to end Hulkamania. I've watched that match so many times. It's so fucking funny and ridiculous and absurd. That is Macho Man and Hogan, and they beat up the Four Horsemen, the Dungeon of Doom, Lex Luger, fucking Zeus, whoever the fuck they can all pull out. And
where the fuck did Zeus even come from,
bro? It's amazing, man. Hulk Hogan made terrible movies.
No, hold on. Before we move on from WCW, we got to talk about him and Flair in the Yappapi Indian strap match. Oh my god!
Brother. So he wrestled Flair a million times in WCW. Yes. When he first gets there, yes, he did. But it's two different tones towards the end. So like, there's like when he first gets there, it's the dream match of the '80s: Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan. Right. He beats Flair like 4 times in a row and retires him or whatever. Yes, Flair loses that many damn times to Hogan.
Yep.
They go to war a little bit during the WCW NWO era, but then that ends, and then Flair's like the president and shit. But they gotta like turn him back. So like they do we'll talk about the finger poke of doom too. They do this thing. Yeah. They do this first blood cage match to basically switch them. So Ric Flair is getting his head buzzed, bleeding and shit, but like the ref's not calling it, and Arn Anderson is helping Flair cheat, but Flair's a good guy at this time. And they switch, and he fucking hulks up with the NWO gear on and shit in that cage match. They do it. That match is like fucking hilarious too. But then it leads to them further feuding. Hogan's back in the yellow and red, and then Flair's back, wearing the blue, all that shit, and then take it away.
All right, so I believe Flair and whoever else beat the shit out of Jimmy Hart, right?
They
So,
beat his son too,
oh yeah, I forgot the son was involved in that one, but
or the
yeah, they
NWO
took some
beat,
real,
or the NWO beat on David Flair.
yeah, yeah. So Hogan, they're both on WWE's YouTube. Like I'm gonna have to put the link out or whatever else. But Hogan says, you know what, you taking it too far when you. I'm gonna summarize what he said. Then I'm gonna get to the actual exact quote, which is fucking absurd. This man basically, there's two different promos. The first one is he has signed releases on his wrist, about his bad wrist, because Hogan has a cast on his wrist, and he says, "I have signed the proper releases or whatever else, and claim and waivers so that I can take this match. And there's no, and I'm gonna box you in legally, so you have to wrestle me." So then I think he beats up Jimmy Hart, and he says, "You cross the line when you touch Jimmy Hart." And like when I was in the ambulance going to the hospital with Jimmy Hart, he said to me one thing, "Yappa pie." Now keep in mind, the name of this tribe he's naming, they're not actually called Yavapai. I think they're named Navajo actually, but he keeps going with it. The Yavapai. So he says that he is going to. He has two belts. He has one belt. He's gonna call out to strap master Jimmy Hart for Indian punishment strap number one. He
Excuse
pulls
me.
out one of the weight belts.
The
And he
strap
places
master? What?
Yes, he called him punishment strap master Jimmy Hart. He grabs the lighter. Keep in mind, this is just a weight belt. This is the smaller weight belt he has in his hand. He proceeds to then start swiping or hitting lashing the concrete beneath his feet, right? And he says that's the first one. He said with his wrist, he said he's gonna lose some flexibility to be able to swing it, but he's gonna still make it work. I'm probably conflating both of these two interviews that were put together and clipped together. Bear with me.
Nah, run it.
So then he says, and he's gonna scream and howl, and by that point in time, he's gonna have Flair begging for mercy, and at this point in time, that's when he will reach out to punishment strap master Jimmy Hart for punishment strap number 2, and that's when the harder leather gets to going, right? And he says that he said, as you begin to cry, you beg, you scream, and you plead, and as your hide starts to peel, and then you start to expose the pink meat. That's when my eyes will roll. That's when I will transform from Hogan to Hollywood, and I will never stop. It is the most absurd promo I've ever heard in my life. Like the level of what do you call it? This is beyond Tumblr talk, right? This is beyond. Like this man just wrote full on like 50 Shades of Grey in that promo, and it somehow it just went over people's heads, or they just let it go, and the unintentional comedy beyond compare. This man said, I will skin your hide off and I will expose the pink meat. I fucking die every time I hear him say that shit. I play that shit maybe once a year or every 2 years because it's just so fucking hilarious. Bro, it's yeah, man. Indian strap match. That's all time promo of ridiculousness from Hogan, and that's another part about the forgotten Hogan. Hogan's an all time promo. It's
Oh,
an all time
yes.
promo, but
Oh, yes. Like, don't get it twisted with the prayers and vitamin shit that he does, like, early in his career and shit like that. Like, when he turns heel in WCW, his heel promos are fucking incredible. Eric
oh
Bischoff, you
yeah,
would be still selling meat from a truck in Minneapolis. Look, he should have left Bischoff ass there. But
yeah,
he the thing about Hogan's promos were they were very 80s, right? Like,
yeah,
but there
oh
would be
yeah,
times where, and then sometimes they would go into like the cartoony like shit like that, and
Oh
like
yeah.
Nash, it was a conflict with like Nash because Nash had kind of like a totally different style, especially when they first started the NWO. Because
NWO stuff, the black and white ones, and he's still and like Hogan's almost ready to like bring it's in black and white, right? And Hogan almost wants to bring like the '80s color, and he almost wants to go cartoonish during the whole thing every single time.
yeah,
And you can just look at the vibe like Nash and Hall kind of lay back and cool, and Hogan almost wants to be like, you guys haven't started the cocaine this promo yet? That's what it looks like. He looks like Hogan. He ready to bounce off the fucking walls like flubber.
yeah. So, but like he figures it out, and he's got like a fair share of like different memorable promos. But man, he comes back to WWF after, or also he's responsible for like finger poke of doom and shit in WCW. Just among the trash that was coming out of there at that time, just kind of ruining everything. Does a huge match with Goldberg, a couple months before that. Strange because Goldberg retires and then Hulk Hogan dies, the following week. The Hulk Hogan and Kidman thing, yeah. He said Billy Kidman couldn't draw flies to a flea market or some shit like that, or he couldn't sell at a flea market. And
then does that fucking job that everyone knows is a fake job.
Yeah. The king of fake jobs.
I'm playing ball and helping the guys get over it. Everyone's like, all right, bro, we know you full of shit.
King of fake jobs.
No one's buying that.
Him running to Japan every so often, and then him basically come out there saying, this WWF belt, this shit is a toy. I want the IWGP championship, bro. And meanwhile, this is Keiji Muto who he's like working with, so he can beat Muto. Right. Even Muto didn't have it like going to that level. But there's a lot about Hogan's career, I think. You see it through the WWF lens or whatever. I grew up with Hogan basically challenging the WWF. And, coming back, he gets his, big match with The Rock or whatever. Everyone just fucking goes crazy for him and loves him. And he works the business again. And in that year, James, he works and basically pulls the rug from under The Rock. He does the shit with Triple H, beats him. Brock Lesnar kills him at the end of the year. Works with Undertaker again, and then like Hogan and Shawn Michaels a couple years later, where it's like, all right, who's going over? And then it was supposed to be a 3-match series. It wasn't gonna work for Hogan. Shawn Michaels basically takes everything out on him that he's hated about him over the years in the build, and then he has the best Hogan match ever, even though he's flopping around like an idiot and all that shit. But there's a lot there. TNA kept thinking he was the answer for years and years.
Yep.
It's just like people just didn't know when to quit the Hogan thing. And Eric Bischoff had a lot to do with this because he started doing a lot of business with Eric Bischoff and Jimmy Hart. And Eric, I think, doesn't really get it. It's funny because when they came out with the Real American Freestyle thing with Eric Bischoff, and I'm just like, yo, he has found himself tied to Hogan in a way like that argues as much as Vince was tied with Hogan at a certain point. It's much more of a length of time.
And I would say it's worse because Bischoff only had all his good ideas was stuff. It's either all of it involves Vince. It's how to counter program Vince or how to use Vince's own stars that he also helped make. And Vince, he moved off. He always, once you hit 40, he basically moved off of you. That's changed in the last decade, but still, it was like once you turn 40, I need to get you off TV. I need to move on.
And there's people say when Hogan was getting that divorce, he signed them trademarks over to Bischoff and shit to protect his assets and everything. So Bischoff and Hogan are tied in almost on a deeper personal level at this point. And I think Bischoff's gonna basically try to pimp this Hogan shit out going forward, that Real American Freestyle. This is Hulk Hogan's vision and all this. That's how he's gonna try to sell this shit.
He gonna try to get off Hoganism like Inokiism.
It's gonna flop, but this is what he's gonna do.
Oh, watch. I mean, it flopped before Hogan died. Look, for all we know, this could have been what got Hogan over the edge. This one might have pushed him off the cliff. The way how bad that shit drew. American Freestyle shit drew. That shit didn't even have 100 tickets sold, didn't it?
I think
it wasn't only double digits.
I think they had a basketball arena and they had 300 tickets or some shit.
Oh, I'm okay. Oh, same difference.
Yeah.
There you go.
Um, and they kept bringing him back and back and back, and people just couldn't stop buying Hulkamania merch when allegedly they already had it or whatever. He had to be around, like all this shit, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't understand why they kept insisting on this. But then I started putting it together and figuring it out. And, I would get a lot of pushback in my columns that I would write about Hulk Hogan. Pushback, maybe an understatement. I remember lordsofpain.net. I think I dropped two different. I think I dropped one column when he first came back. I would say, yeah, racist Hulk Hogan is always coming back or whatever, and that one got him. But the one that really pissed him off was when I said that they were using Gene Okerlund and him dying to basically roll out the Hulk Hogan,
as a rollout. And sure enough, he shows up at WrestleMania 35.
So I have never been wrong about Hulk Hogan. Much like Cody Rhodes. I have never been wrong about Cody Rhodes, right? But the Hogan thing, I'll take a slight L on Cody, but the Hogan thing, I saw it for what it was, because for me this was beyond wrestling. I wasn't evaluating this in a wrestling context like a lot of other people were. I was evaluating this on a societal context, because this was a reflection of everything that was going on in the last 10 years. And I felt like, who better than me to put this together? I'm like, okay, I'm very familiar with Hulk Hogan. I'm very familiar with wrestling fans. I'm very familiar with what the fuck is happening in the world right now. And I'm going to go ahead and tell people what's happening, and it's on them to learn how to deal with it. And they could not.
Right. And that's the thing of why it's also frustrating when it comes to these conversations, when people want to throw in their 2 cents that isn't informed. It's like, okay, you're looking at it through a lens that is, 2 inches wide. I'm looking at the whole world. And like, when people talk about, somebody commits a racism, right, somewhere in whatever section of life, they want to then confine it to that particular like sector, right? And it's like, no, like this racism thing is a people problem. People are in everything. Like when cops fuck up, it's like, it's not because copping is inherently, even though it has ties to the legacy of racism, like it's not inherently that. It is the people have been indoctrinated into racism, and then they take a job that then leads them to then do stuff like that. Like, it would be the same thing as if somebody was flipping burgers for you. Like, it permeates everywhere in the air. Like, so when you were saying that, they're like, oh no, it's an isolated thing. It ain't isolated. This is the world. Wake the fuck up.
Hulk Hogan, notorious all-time liar. I gathered some of his greatest lies. Who can forget the time he put 200,000 in the Budokan Hall? Hulk
now, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't Budokan Hall fit what, 10,000 or 16,000? Which is the number?
It's like 16,000.
There you go. I always, yeah, because I mix up Sumo Hall and Budokan Hall's capacity, but it can't fit in no damn 200,000. I know that for sure.
Yeah,
I've been to that building. No, absolutely not.
He claimed, that he wrestled 400 days in a year with the time change to Japan. Of course, who could forget that he was supposed to be the bass player in Metallica? Lars basically said that they've never even met him. Said he got offered the lead role in the movie The Wrestler. He was a real life badass who beat up 8 guys in a bar. Yeah, right.
When do we get to WrestleMania 3?
We getting there right now. He said he once claimed that he broke Andre the Giant's back during the body slam. He said that on another occasion, Andre the Giant died a few days after WrestleMania 3. Meanwhile, that nigga lived 6 more years. Every time Andre the Giant is mentioned, he progressively gets heavier. There are more people there. He claimed Elvis Presley was a fan of his wrestling. Elvis Presley died in 1977. Hogan didn't wrestle until 1979. He says he was the first wrestler to play guitar. Someone like the Honky Tonk Man was already doing this way before that. He said he was blackballed from Hollywood for doing Mr. Nanny. Um, no evidence supports this. The film just flopped. He claims that he discovered The Rock. Meanwhile, how would he discover The Rock when The Rock was with his father and Pat Patterson? How did that happen? I don't know.
Well, you see, like he discovered him the same way that Christopher Columbus discovered his continent. Like, people are already fucking here, but never mind them. Fuck them because they're not white. Like that's basically what that comes down to.
He turned down the George Foreman grill. But he said that the only problem was he didn't answer the call first, and it went to George Foreman.
I will say the story. Okay, I'd like to believe that one because the story is hilarious. He says that the person came to him with two ideas: the Foreman grill or this
Pastamania
this shake mixer or whatever else, and he said he couldn't get the call, so he ended up going with this shake mixer that fucking sucked, and then Foreman ended up making millions of dollars instead of him. I'm okay with Hogan out missing out on some millions of dollars in this case. I'm okay with this story being true, or pretend this story is true. I'm okay with it.
He claimed he knew Bret Hart was going to get screwed by Vince McMahon. He was not in the company involved with the angle or anything
at all.
He says he created the concept of the NWO. No.
Right.
They claim that he slammed. No,
let's go further than that. The third person was supposed to be Sting, and then they pivoted to Hogan.
Yes. Said he parted with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2. John Belushi died in 1982. He claimed
before there was even WrestleMania 1.
Correct. He once said that he was going to be involved with UFC 1. What the fuck would Hulk Hogan have done at this? I don't know.
At the end, they all linked up with MAGA, so,
Yeah. But, yeah, this guy. There are tons and tons and tons of Hogan lies everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure I'm leaving some out.
Oh, I mean, we talked about one earlier when he said that Hulk Hogan has a blank size, or sorry, Terry Bollea has a normal size penis, but Hulk Hogan has like a 12-inch penis. That he said that in a courtroom.
Yes.
He said that is in public court records transcripts. You can pull that up on the docket and find him saying that.
I'm seeing some other ones. Hulk Hogan rejected dinner invitations from Madonna and Cher. Yeah, all right.
What I'll say is this: it don't seem like, from what I can tell of that era, that Madonna would have wanted to invite him anywhere.
No.
The Madonna back in that era, it seemed like Madonna had the same curiosity that Brooke did.
Correct. And to this day. So who can forget WrestleMania 9 when he shows up with the black eye? And apparently, they said it was a jet ski accident, but apparently Macho Man may have put hands on that man.
That's the. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that rumor.
He said he faced Brock Lesnar after his UFC run in different stuff, and it's like, no, you didn't. There's another one. Oh my god. Hulk Hogan claimed he was with Kerry Von Erich before his death. What?
Jesus fucking Christ.
So claiming to be,
I never heard about that one.
So the story on that, he's claimed to be one of the last guy. He said among his stories of 1993, Hogan is claiming he sat on a plane to Japan next to Kerry Von Erich in February. Just 72 hours later, Von Erich took his own life. The problem with this is Kerry's last match was in Dallas 6 days beforehand. Given he was facing possible arrest charges, Kerry flying to Japan made no sense. So why would Hogan claim he was with the guy before his tragic end? Yeah, Hogan fought pride fighters in the 1970s. Oh, Jesus. Hogan wanted to turn heel in 1990. That's another good one. And he was going to call himself Triple H.
What was H going to say for Hollywood?
Yes.
Okay.
This is another good one. Tatsumi Fujinami tried to shoot fight him and win the WWE title. Someone said he was defending the WWE title on the tour of Japan in 1985 and faced Tatsumi Fujinami. According to Hulk, Fujinami tried to shoot on him and steal the WWE title, forcing Hogan to fight for real to keep the belt. There is zero evidence this was the case, and New Japan would go after WWE like that. He also claimed in his 1983 match with Antonio Inoki that Inoki almost died and was brought back by CPR, and Hogan had to flee Japan to escape the Yakuza. Somehow, he came back many times over the years.
Oh my god! Oh, I also found out that story about him getting broken to the business, leg getting broken. That was fake.
It was fake. Yes, Dave this week talked all that shit. He was like, hey man, he actually did not get his leg broke. This man had a sprained ankle, like, and then took a couple of days off. Like that's
now, Rich. Now, Hogan was always a liar about the injuries. Like, keep in point, the picture you put in the before we opened with this. The story was after that match with Undertaker, he went to the back and told Undertaker, "My neck's fucked up. You dropped me in my head, brother." All that kind of stuff. And Undertaker said that
he felt bad.
He felt sick to his stomach. He thought his career was over or whatever else. And then he saw the video. He was like, his fucking head didn't even come within 6 inches of that fucking steel chair. And that's one of the reasons why Undertaker has always been shitting on that man ever since then.
Bro, and the reason Hogan did this or whatever was to basically cover for him, to make him look tougher in losing the championship. This is why he said these things or whatever. Did you hear about the one?
But he's working the boys. That's why he's working the backstage room.
I know. Did you hear the one about the Make-A-Wish kid?
No.
Okay. So Hogan obviously has done a lot of work with Make-A-Wish over the years and shit like that, right? But he says, and he recorded a song about a Make-A-Wish child in SummerSlam 1992. And he was there, before that. There's only one problem with that, James. Hulk Hogan was not on SummerSlam 1992. He was not there. Yes. He said the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds scouted him. He had a .714 Little League batting average. The Yankees nor Reds have never claimed to have ever scouted Hogan. He wrestled 400. Yeah, that's another one.
Bro, that's
yeah, it's
all-time liar.
All-time liar.
All-time liar. Like, so much line. I mean, have we discussed putting him in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame for all these lies?
So,
or he can't get in, because of his, the what do you call it, the complicated legacy precedes him from getting in. Is that's how he play it?
So like,
okay.
So back to the Hiro Matsuda thing. So like, the story is
Black Saber Jr.
Nigga think he Tony Gwynn.
Bro, I shit you not. I looked up like yesterday. I was looking up like highest batting averages like in the last since this like millennium, whatever else. And somehow when I was scrolling through, I saw Tony Gwynn at like hitting like 370 something. I was like, God damn, Tony Gwynn. I think it was 94. Anyway.
Yeah. So like Hulk Hogan, the thing is what they would do. Sometimes they would break people that were outsiders with wrestling, that people just walking off the street or whatever want to be a wrestler. They want to keep the business closed. That's how they did. Hulk Hogan from day one was an insider because he was around Tampa and was personally recommended by Terry Funk to go to Hiro Matsuda. So it was like, nah, he was like, they were like, no, that like all that shit has been a fucking lie. Year after year after year, they told these stories or whatever. Man, this is there's so much.
I mean, look, we could be on here another 15 minutes trying to find Hulk Hogan lies.
Of course, he did not do steroids. He said
only with what fucking show was that he did?
Arsenio Hall's show, Lying to a Black Man.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
apparently that's like the reason why that's what made the Fed say, okay, fuck you. Now we finna really kick in the door on WWF and Vince and him
Yeah.
over the steroid stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like this guy completely fascinating, like in a way to where like how Andre the Giant, like there's like you don't know what the fuck is fact and fiction. Hogan, I think,
Yeah.
was a cosplay version of that because you could easily find out the lies or whatever. I feel like
The problem is Hogan is the one that was trying to create his own mythos, and like that's the part that backfires on you. Like Andre, because obviously he doesn't speak English that well, it was like people had to tell these stories to make him larger than life. Even though you look at his size and your imagination runs wild, and also the way he looked. With Hogan, it's like he taught himself out of his own mystique. If you were an adult and had some damn discernment. But if you were our age, you would believe some of this stuff, and then you grew older, you're like, oh, this man lying his ass off.
it's amazing,
Like
dog.
this, like this, like this sounds. Never mind. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna say this sound all these lies. This sounds like gangster rap. But I was gonna say some names. I'm sorry. I'm leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. But yeah, man. Um, I mean, you cannot tell the story of pro wrestling in our lifetimes without Hulk Hogan. You absolutely cannot. And so I think it does a disservice to people to act like this guy, while doing some great things, also did some heinous things, and either intentionally or ignorantly made the business less popular nationwide than it was before. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. That was always going to happen, but he was the biggest star of the rise of it. I lay that blame more at Vince McMahon because he's the businessman more than Hulk Hogan, obviously. But yeah, like absolutely incredible career, um, all time draw, all time legend, piece of shit.
Fuck nigga, like racist, MAGA to the end. Like the current president, talked about him. Uh, and ultimately a worker at the end of the day. Like this whole shit, the last year was his new work or whatever. Like that was the audience that was gonna not see through that shit. Like who knows? Like they could be getting worked or whatever with all that shit. We don't fucking know. Like,
Mhm.
but like he came out there and was like, "This is how I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna get this beer going. I'm gonna sucker WWE in. I'm always gonna be Hulk Hogan until I'm not, which he's not anymore." And you know, you want some more Hogan lies?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Hulk Hogan claimed he had been offered and turned down a Legends match at WrestleMania 22, the alleged match Hulk Hogan versus Greg Valentine. Hogan claimed
22. That's 2006.
correct. Hogan claimed that he was blackballed from Hollywood because he turned down a gay producer's advances in the 80s. He claimed that Harley Race came to the arena with a gun in Kansas City in the 1980s and set the ring on fire, and then he ran into Hogan. He shook his hand and thanked him all he had done for wrestling and asked for a job. He claimed he was the wrestler responsible for the WWF first selling merchandise, and he had to talk Vince into it. He claimed he was going to commit suicide, literally had the gun in his hand pointed at his head, and he got a call from Layla Ali that he took a sign that he should keep trying to live. He claimed that Vern Gagne got Nick Bockwinkel to shoot on him during one of their AWA title matches. Hogan shot back and won the fight. He said that he wanted to drop the title to Piper in 1985, but didn't think Piper would be willing to lose it back to him.
Okay, Brett.
Amazing. Amazing, brother. Um, yeah. Hulk Hogan, man. What a life. 71 years old. And he, like, decided he just hated black people so much he just couldn't take it no more. He just had to be free and be himself. So I'm glad he got to be himself. But fuck that nigga, and I hope he burns in hell.
I think it's mad because he was making fun of his weak ass leg drop all that time. I think really that's what it came down to. He was tired of us laughing at him. Anyway, thanks for listening, y'all. That's the end of the show. Be sure to raise whatever app you use and listen to this with. If you are watching from the stream, be sure when this show is posted in the show notes to go to the link to Red Circle and donate there. And also check out our store in Chop Tees. The link will be in the show notes as well. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keep It Strong Style, All Things Elite, AEW Match Guide, Wrestling, Art with Chris Things, Imps WWE Adventure, the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast, and Tunnel Talk. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
And when it came crashing down, it now hurts inside.
All right, we're done recording.
Yeah, it's hot, brother.